The CBC's George Stroumboulopoulos was in Haiti recently as a United Nations ambassador against hunger. So that's quite the role in quite the country. Tell us, what were you up to down there?
You know, a lot of Canadians were very generous after the earthquake, and Haiti's been top of mind for a long time for them. So I wanted to go down there and see the work that was being done both with the World Food Program and Paul Haggis's charity, Artists for Peace and Justice, because Haiti's a country that has a lot of need. There's a lot of hope there, but there's a lot of need. So I just wanted to go down there and see the work being done.
And you went to some of those tent cities that we just saw. What were your impressions?
The conditions are as appalling as you would think they would be. An enormous number of people living in tents, still over 500,000 people, which is shocking considering how much money was donated to Haiti. Raises a lot of questions about which NGOs got the money, what were they doing with the money. Haitians feeling very frustrated with what's going on down there, and yeah, the conditions are terrible. They absolutely are. But Haiti's got a lot of different things going on. Different parts of the country have different realities. Not everything is tent city, but a lot of it certainly is in need.
Well, and you were there, you say, with Paul Haggis, the Canadian filmmaker. What is his project? What's he doing?
This is what I like about Artists for Peace and Justice. I think aid is still very effective around the world, and aid can be also a hindrance, but you see it be effective, especially when, in a place like Haiti, you work with people that are already there. Work with people who are on the ground, who have an understanding of the country, who are also Haitians, if possible, and who work with Haitians. So Paul's Artists for Peace and Justice partners with groups that are down there, building schools, cholera hospitals, even film schools to help them be able to tell their own story. Pretty cool stuff. The downside to the Republic of NGOs, as Haiti's been called in the past, is that it contributes to a cycle of dependency, which is one of the things we talked about with Paul.
Yeah, well, you asked him about that when you were down there, and we have a clip. Let's see that now.
The Haitian government said that by the money being given to NGOs, rather than the government, it condemns Haiti to a cycle of dependency.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, and then we're doing the same thing because we're an NGO. We're a small one, but we are. If we could have given that money to the state and allowed them, with our little bit of money, to build an education system, I would have done it. But we don't have that kind of money. You know, the Clinton Foundation is raising a lot of money. A lot of people with us are raising a lot of money. They could, you know, make a big difference.
So it's hard to know what to do, but some of it seems to be working. Even those people in the tent cities feel like life is getting better.
Yeah, and there's lots of room for hope. Hopelessness is what will destroy you when you approach situations around the world. Every country is complex, aid is complex. Haiti, you can see, oh, I get it. This can actually be fixed. This can work. There are a bunch of problems to be addressed, but it can work. And aid has made a big difference down there in a lot of ways. But the Haitian people, to a degree, feel frustrated, feel a bit abandoned. Not sure if they're going to have any optimism anytime soon, but depending on where you go, you can find certainly places where there is optimism.
And you have a special that you're running on Wednesday night?
Yeah, the stuff that we went down and filmed with Paul Haggis is going to air on Wednesday night at 11:05 on our show, just to keep it top of mind, because Canadians were really generous. And I know back here there's the idea of donor fatigue, where, you know, there's a tragedy or crisis and people donate, and then where did the money go? And then they only hear the news headlines sometimes, or they read the headlines and they don't think the money they donated is working. We're just showing them that, you know, here's some of the money you raised, here's where it's going to go. But also, here's why Haiti needs to be cared about and why it needs to be top of mind for us.
So some health care and some education, but also some film classes from Paul Haggis.
Watching Paul Haggis teach a kid in an edited bay about, hey, you got to fix your audio, like actually giving them proper tutorials, it was really cool to see, because a country needs to be able to tell their own story.
Thanks so much, George.
Thanks, Wendy.
George Stroumboulopoulos.